YouTube, what is going on? Welcome back to another Identity 5 video. And yeah, finally, believe it or not, after 25 years later, we actually have another tier list video. And I don't know when the last one was. I think it was like a long time ago, dude. It was a long time ago. But finally have Season 22 Survivor tier list. So this is kind of the tier list going into the new season. I know you did a tier list as well. His is very nice as well. So make sure you guys check that out. He's actually a very nice guy. I met him recently. So he started commentating ICL matches. Very cool dude. Make sure you guys check out his video as well. But yeah, so today we have season 22 Survivor tier list. We have our 6 tiers today. I know I say for this video, I want to make this quicker than usual. I don't want to make this like an hour and a half, 2 hour long video like I usually do. And I know every video I say that I'm going to make it shorter, but I never actually do. But this time we're going to actually try. We're going to give it a shot. But anyways, we do have 6 tiers today: C, B, B+, A+, and S tier. And basically the criteria for each tier is that with C tier, these are kind of like the worst characters in the game. Pretty unviable, not very good in rank, not really used in tournaments at all. Just really underwhelming characters that will never be used at a high level. The next is B tier. These are characters that, again, not great in rank, but they can come up occasionally in a tournament setting, like later rounds, maybe as like a secret tech character that can, maybe be not too bad. The next is B+ character. These are also characters that are not bad in rank, and they're also good, again, as kind of a tech character. They're just kind of stronger than B tier. They're good as a one-of character later rounds in tournament, and they're not bad in rank. And the next is A tier. A tier characters are very good in rank. They're good later rounds in tournaments, rounds 2 to 3. Occasionally, you can use one of them in the first round. The next are A+ tier. These are obviously very strong characters, very, very good in rank situations. You can use them in any rounds of tournaments, including round 1, and they're also one of the more commonly banned characters. And then the final tier is S tier. These are the best characters in the game, the best characters for rank, the best characters for tournament, any round, obviously, and the most banned characters in the game as well. So, yeah, just that's gonna be our criteria for these tiers. So, without further ado, let's get into our first tier, which is C tier, and the first character in C tier is Thief. Not much to say about Thief. He sucks. I mean, all you have to do as a hunter is moonwalk. Just what moonwalking is, if you don't know, is if you have a drag and drop ability as a hunter, just hold it down and walk so your camera angle faces away from the thief, and you can just walk up to him and hit him. And his flashlight does nothing as long as you're looking away. And then his place down flashlight, again, not very strong. The stun is just very, very short. An Enchantress stun is longer, and Enchantress 3-stack stun is longer, and her stun's not even really that long realistically. So I know that Thief flashlight cancels abilities for a few seconds. It's just not worth it though. Thief gets countered by most hunters. He's C tier, just the worst hunter in the game, worst survivor in the game, unfortunately. The next character in C tier is Lucky Guy. Again, very unplayable. I know there's some people out there that argue that Lucky Guy is like decent because he can he can be like a budget character, and that he can get like any item technically throughout the game, but his items aren't always guaranteed. And he's also his for example, say with a flare gun stun, it's a lot shorter, which just makes him very, very weak. Compared to something like a coordinator flare gun stun is a lot longer. Additionally, for those of you who don't know, in a tournament matches, if you're playing on a tournament competitive server, they actually remove flare guns from chests completely. So you can't even get a flare gun out of a chest, which, I mean, that sucks. So Lucky Guy is completely unusable in tournaments because flare gun being the best item in the game, obviously you can't use it in tournaments as a Lucky Guy. And then also in rank, he's still just not good. Like, it's better to just play Coordinator. It's better to just play, like, Perfumer. Obviously, Lucky Guy has some versatility to work with, but the time it takes for him to stop to search chests, you're losing Cypher Rush, and in reality, it's never really worth it as a Lucky Guy player. And while Lucky Guy, again, on paper, he seems not bad, but in reality, once you start playing him in rank, he's a very easy kill for a lot of hunters, and overall, just a C tier character. The next character in C tier is Lawyer, and I know Psyche and I actually have a lot of similar opinions when it comes to competitive IDV and what characters are good. This is the one that we do not have in common, and that is Lawyer. Psyche believes that Lawyer has some perks of being potentially being a strong character. I still don't. Lawyer is never really used in any tournaments. Never in Japan, never in China, never even in Southeast Asia, Korea, Hong Kong, Taiwan. He's just never used. He's just not strong. And he's never used, if you watch NAU tournaments, he's never really used there either. So Lawyer, yeah, is just very weak. Unfortunately, you know, I mean, when I play Hunter and I get a Lawyer in rank, I'm happy. I love chasing Lawyer. Obviously, his abilities aren't bad. He's a good starting character because he can't get Terror Shocked. He cannot get Terror Shocked, which is nice. He does have a Veteran Speed bonus, which is also very nice. And he, you know, he's decodes faster once he pops the Cipher Machine. He also has the map to give him some vision around the you know, the field, which isn't bad. But in reality, there's just better characters for that. Unfortunately, Lawyer, his kiting skills are just not very strong at all. He never should be getting Terror Shocked anyways. And Veterans bonus, it's like, it's nice, but it's better to just play characters who are stronger at kiting. In reality, 20% increase with decoding is also not very strong because you do have to finish a whole Cipher Machine to do it, which in reality is just not very good, unfortunately, and that makes Lawyer a C tier character. The next character in C tier is Gardner. Gardner is also, for some reason, in NAU, there are a lot of people who just love to play Gardner, even in top tiers. Gardner, I'm going to tell you guys right now, there are really no top tier Gardner players in any other region that are very effective in the entire world. It is only NAU. For some reason, people like to play Gardner. She's a very, very weak character, unfortunately. Stopping to dismantle chairs. I mean, yeah, okay, it's nice. You know, the hunter has to fix them, whatever. But I mean, it doesn't take very long to fix. And they can just take it. There's so many chairs on the map, you can just take them to a completely different chair. If you want to help a survivor struggle free, it's better to play harassing characters, like even something like Cowboy would be better. Batter is better. Entomologist is better. Characters like that supply better support throughout the match as well. They're more consistent and they're just stronger against meta hunters. Gardner's just very weak, very bad against Bonbon, not very good against Sculptor. Any chip hunter in general, Gardner is very, very weak to. If she's found first, she can be pretty good, as long as it's not assuming it's not a chip hunter. That's the only instance where she's not bad. Even against Dreamwitch, she's not very good because they can just patrol her. If they hit the bubble with the patroller on, the patroller will stay on the survivor. It won't get detached like a normal hit would with a patroller. Additionally, Breaking Wheel can just roll over the bubble and it just gets broken off. So, yeah, Gardner, just Sculptor, Bonbon, Wheel, Dreamwitch, kind of the four of the most meta hunters in the game, just really counter her, which makes her a C-tier survivor. Of course, she can go for rescues at half health with her bubble, assuming the hunter doesn't pressure you into, you know, hitting you. I mean, you got to stand still to do it, and a lot of hunters will just not allow that to happen. They'll constantly pressure the Gardner and prevent them from getting that bit off against good hunters, especially in global regions like Japan and China. All right, moving on to the next tier, which is B tier. The first survivor in B tier is Doctor. And Doctor is, you know, Doctor fairly recently got a buff where she takes a chip. If she takes a chip hit, like a Sculptor Statue or Bonbon Bomb, she gets a little bit of an extra speed boost, which hasn't impacted her too much. It's nice, and it's a nice little bonus. And yeah, it does help with kiting against some hunters, but in reality, it's really not too strong overall. She's not a bad counter to Dreamwitch, but Barmaid and Psychologist are just more consistent and better. The problem with Doctor is that you have to actually, you know, stop, stand still to heal yourself, whereas with something like a Barmaid, you can just keep running. And that sucks because you know, Doctor would be a good character to have a running heal ability because she gets a veteran speed bonus, which gives her a ton of distance, right, to work with. But you know, she has a stop ability. So if you take a hit, you stop to try to heal yourself, you're wasting your veteran speed bonus. Also, Patroller Bites can cancel her, you know, her healing. So that's just kind of another thing. Is just if you go for a stop heal as Doctor, right? Go for Patroller Bite. Barmaid's heal does not stop. The bar is going to keep going down until she gets healed. So Barmaid's just better than Doctor against something like Dreamwitch. Overall, Doctor's only really good against Mad Eyes and Photographer after that, and those are not very common hunters in rank. Maybe in lower tier rank, lower to mid tier rank, Photo is played more. Once you get to higher tiers, Photo is not a strong hunter. He's not played very often in high tiers, which makes Doctor a low B tier character. The next character in B tier is Mind's Eye. And the only reason Mind's Eye isn't in bottom tier again is that she was used once by actually one of my favorite teams over in Japan, RC, Team Reject, Team RC. They're known for playing very unconventional strategies. They actually played, believe it or not, a very exciting team comp where they had forward and they played triple decoder. They went Postman for the decoding letter, so the decoder there, Postman, Prisoner, Mind's Eye, and then 4 just for a rescuer and a supporter, of course, against a Bloody Queen. The Bloody Queen missed only 1 mirror the entire game, and she lost because the Cypher Rush was so fast. So that's a cool little comp you can do against kind of tie hunters to try to push for wins. So maybe against something like a Geisha, against something like a Bloody Queen, something like a Bonbon. Those sort of strategies can be useful. So Mind's Eye is there as a potential late round, maybe surprise late round, third round option. Very specific for certain maps and very specific hunters in very specific scenarios. She could potentially come out. I mean, this is so many things have to happen and be set in motion in a tournament setting for her to come out. And in rank, she's very useless, unfortunately. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are not going to like my opinion on that, but I promise you, it's a very accurate one. This has been kind of I've had a lot of discussion with a lot of people. Mind's Eye, again, she's not C tier anymore, so that's a start, but she's still not very strong. Any hunter in rank that will bring teleporting quenching effect can easily just teleport on her and chase her. She has no real kiting skills other than she throws pallets even slower than most survivors, which makes it worse. Vaulting is slowed down as well. Of course, the Cypher Rush is nice, but Cypher Rush is not as important. You need to have good kiting and good support, and Mind's Eye does not, unfortunately, supply that. Of course, when you tap the cane, the only support she applies if you tap the cane, the hunter interacts with objects slower, so vaulting windows or breaking pallets, but overall, it's really not enough to have any sort of effect. When I mean support characters, I mean Priestess portals, batter support, forward stun, stuff like that. Those are all a lot stronger than Mind's Eye. That's what makes Mind's Eye low B tier. The next survivor in B tier is Painter. Now, Painter is actually kind of annoying, but the biggest problem with Painter is a lot of players can just walk right around the paintings. Painter is nice in that in narrow alleyways, you can put down a painting and force the hunter to walk into it. And his stun isn't bad. Unfortunately, excitement is a thing. He does have a nice share time to work with, which can be very useful if you want to go for an early. For example, if Painter gets shared on someone's Cypher machine, you can go rescue him early, and then he gets placed on the rocket chair a second time. But he's able to get away from that Cypher machine with Tide Turner. He gets placed on a new chair away from the Cypher machine, and he still has a lot of time left on the rocket chair because of his extra chair time, or not his extra chair time, but his chair time continuing from the most recent point, which is honestly pretty useful as a painter. Yeah, he does have the 2 paintings to work with, which are useful as well. So overall, Painter, he's okay. He's not very good, unfortunately. There are better characters. He's just sort of kind of a mid B tier character as of right now. The next character in B tier is First Officer. Now, First Officer is maybe he could be a little higher. I do have him B tier right now. He could definitely be B plus. I'm not taking that away from him. I haven't really played around with First Officer too much as of recently, so I'm not really sure exactly where he sits entirely, but I'm kind of just going to go with where he's sort of been normally. There has been some interesting ideas. For those of you who know Fafa, he's brought up some interesting ideas around heavy rescuer team comps, including Officer and Wildling, but that's a discussion for another time. But anyways, yeah, First Officer, he just kind of... The biggest problem with First Officer is that when you go for a rescue, if a hunter cuts you off, they can kind of just swing in the air over and over, and it's hard to get past the hunter, because if they have a large enough hitbox, they can just swing in the air. Now, he is getting something like Geisha, a very small hitbox, but besides that, he's not very good against something like maybe a Wu Chang or a Sculptor. I mean, all their hitbox, or even a Bonbon can just drop a bunch of bombs, try to hit him out of his watch. All those abilities can be very difficult for First Officer. All those hitboxes can be difficult for a First Officer. So, overall, something like a Gravekeeper is realistically more consistent and stronger, because Gravekeeper can absorb the hit while in shovel form. It gets knocked out of shovel, and then he makes the rescue while the hunter's in attack recovery. The First Officer, okay, the hunter's in attack recovery, but you're still taking a hit. You're still taking damage, whereas with with Gravekeeper, you're not taking that damage. So because of these things, First Officer is just kind of a significantly weaker version of Gravekeeper. That's what makes him B tier. The next survivor in B tier is Wildling. The biggest problem... I don't want to be too pessimistic. I want to try to keep optimism for as many of these characters. I know you guys have mentioned try to bring as much optimism as we can, even to the lower tier characters. So let's talk about Wildling a little bit. So Wildling's positives are that he's very unchaseable. If the hunter, if a hunter goes to a Wildling, the Wildling can easily just get on their board. They can ride it around, get faster than the hunter, and there's nothing the hunters can really do to catch up to them. The only hunters that can kind of catch them are like Soul Weaver and kind of, and it's just like Gamekeeper if you hit your hook, and that's a big if because the Wildling's so fast on board, it's easier for him to juke it. So, yeah, a really nice bonus to Wildling. He's a good tie character. His decoding is so slow, but he's unchaseable. He's also a good one escape character. It's hard to kill a Wildling. For example, if you have 2 survivors left, and it's like, okay, if I kill a survivor quickly, put him on the rocket chair, and teleport to the last cipher, I win. If there's 2 survivors already eliminated. But it's like, okay, I found a Wildling. Now I got to teleport to the last cipher. Wildling's going to start a new cipher machine. Okay, I killed the person I teleported on and I slugged them because I'm trying to get a 4-person elimination, right? Well, I go back to Wildling. Oh, he just gets on board again. The person self-heals and they pop the cipher. And then all of a sudden you have 1 survivor, at least 1 survivor out. And then also maybe even a tie because Wildling can kite to dungeon with his boar. So it's just kind of like that. Like, Wildling just has a lot of like great map mobility. He's just very, very difficult to catch. You have to go from while he's off board. Good Wildlings will really not give you that opportunity. If you choose to follow the Wildling around the entire time for boar to run out, then you just get kited for too long. And yeah, obviously late game when Wildling's been his boar a bunch of times, it's only 35 seconds. That's 35 seconds without anything. And then on top of that, then the kite starts. So it's just like you go stand next to the Wildling, you guys just stand still and stare at each other for 35 seconds, and then someone's just going to decode for free for 35 seconds. I mean, that's game changing. Right, so that's actually a nice upside to Wildling. But the biggest problem with him, we gotta get into some pessimism. Unfortunately, his decoding is so slow. Forward is so much better. On top of that, if Wildling wants to support, he's not a very good supporter in that if he wants to support immediately, he can't. He has to wait for his energy on his board to rage up. Whereas forward can instantly go, batter can instantly go. Wildling needs to be at max energy. He's also very weak to Breaking Wheel. Breaking Wheel can instantly just snap him straight off his board. If he gets any spike on him at all, and we can Breaking Wheel snap ability online, he can just snap. It'll hit the Wildling straight off the board, and he takes damage as well. It's just not. He's just very weak against Breaking Wheel. So that's what makes him a V tier survivor. The next tier is B+ tier. The first character in B+ tier is Prisoner. Now, I know, again, a lot of you guys, I think I had Prisoner's lower B tier last time, and a lot of you guys were like, oh my god, Prisoner deserves to be higher, oh my god, Eli, we hate you, or something, I don't know. But basically, Prisoner has moved up a little bit. He's up to B+ now, so I think that's kind of where he belongs right now. He's a little bit better. Again, RC, the team Reject, RC, they played Prisoner. This is a team from Japan. They played a Prisoner team comp. Prisoner, Mind's Eye, Postman decoding letter, triple decoder, and a rescuer with the forward, and it ended up being a very strong strategy. So RC is really the only team that utilizes Prisoner that much, but they do it very well. They're known for unconventional strategies, and they perform very well with them. So Prisoner is now B+ tier because of it. Overall, Prisoner's not too incredibly strong. Cypher Rush, of course, is always very important, but decoders are not a main part of the meta currently, with the exception of Postman. It's all about support and good kiting in the current meta. So for those of you who don't know what I mean by meta, it's sort of just like the current strategies to go against the current strong hunters. Current strong hunters being things like Dream Witch, Wheel Sculptor, Bloody Queen, Bon Geisha, Naiad, stuff like that. So unfortunately, Prisoner's not incredibly strong against a lot of those. They can be used as a surprise 3rd round character in tournament. And he's like okay in rank, but there are better options. So that's what makes Prisoner a low B+ tier. Of course, he can't finish ciphers from across the map, does lose some progress, which isn't ideal, but it's also nice to have that as a potential option. He does have that 1 shock to work with, starting even from the beginning of the match, which is useful. But he does pick up heartbeat a bit slower, so if you're not in 4-person communication, like in a rank match, if you don't have 4-person VC, then he's not incredibly good, because you don't know whose cipher machines to connect to, as well, and you also don't know when the hunter's coming. You gotta have your teammates communicate that to you, and as a Prisoner, you get heartbeat late, so sometimes the hunter can sneak up on you, and that can be a bit of a problem for Prisoner in a rank situation. So in rank, Prisoner's not as strong, and he is sometimes viable as a kind of a surprise specialty pick later rounds in a tournament setting. All right, moving on to the next character in B+ tier is Female Dancer. I actually like Dancer. Female Dancer. She has some potential in certain maps against certain hunters. Breaking Wheel, believe it or not, gets slowed down by slow boxes, which doesn't really make sense because Breaking Wheel is not supposed to get slowed down. Actually, it kind of does make sense because Slowdown effects work on wheel form. For example, Postman Dog, Acrobat Slow Bomb if you walk through it first as the wheel. And then also music boxes, but stuns don't. So it's kind of a weird interaction. But the slow effects do work on wheel form. So she can be good against wheel in that. She can also have music boxes set up, which is really useful because, you know, if Survivor kites to an area with a bunch of music boxes, the hunter gets slowed down, the Survivor gets speed up with the fast boxes, and that can be really useful. That can be, you know, that can be really nice. So, yeah, I mean, that's something that can be good support. Also, when she drops down from a 2-story building, she gets a 40% speed boost, also very useful. So, yeah, overall, Dancer, she's not bad. She's not bad for support. There are better support characters. Her kiting is okay. She relies more on tight kiting, which can be good against something like Geisha, but it's weaker against a lot of the other hunters. But overall, she's not bad. She's not bad, again, as a specialty pick option. She's like decent on certain maps in rank, but there are better characters, and that's what makes her B+. Next character in B+ is Explorer. Explorer's good because he's a decoder that really cannot be chased as long as he doesn't get found. Obviously, Dreamwitch and Feaster can be very good at finding Explorer, but besides that, a lot of hunters struggle at finding the Explorer. So, Explorer's not bad. Again, not a bad decoder because he's a decoding character that really doesn't have to kite because he rarely gets found. So that does, you know, that does make him useful. Really not much to say about Explorer besides that. Airwalk on Explorer is very good. Hides his trail easier. It's easier for him to hide. Explorer is just kind of a B+ tier character. A decent decoder that really doesn't have to kite very much. So it's kind of not bad. You know, B+ tier. Next character in B+ tier is Cowboy. Now Cowboy is not very... He's actually a very good character, but he's not very used as much in the global regions. However, there is one team in China, for those of you know GG, the team GG on China 4, I think it's 445, right, is his name, if I'm not mistaken. He plays Cowboy. I don't know if he changed his name or if it's still 445. I think it still is. But anyways, he plays Cowboy, and a lot of the Chiners will actually ban his Cowboy because of how good it is. He's, I believe, arguably the best Cowboy in the world, right, the best Cowboy player in the world. Hunters in China will actually ban Cowboy, believe it or not, because of him. Even in IVL, even in tournament. So, you know, definitely something to keep in mind. That's what keeps Cowboy up in the B+ here instead of dropping lower. Not a bad kiter. He can support with the lasso. Of course, there are better supporters, but he's also not bad. He can also act as a rescuer. So, kiter, rescuer, supporter. Really not bad overall. Pretty well balanced for the most part. Does have a slight decoding debuff, but overall, not too bad. It makes him a solid B+ tier character. The next character in B+ tier is Barmaid. Barmaid, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Barmaid, again, I know Demi slander. I know you guys don't like it when I say stuff about Barmaid, but the only reason Barmaid is pretty good is because she counters Dreamwitch, and Dreamwitch is the best hunter in the game right now. Barmaid, for the most part, is useless against like 99% of the other hunters in the game, but she is very strong against Dreamwitch, so I gotta give you that. Anyone who mains Barmaid, it's a good skill to have, being able to play Barmaid, because if you're in your rank match, I would never recommend Barmaid for rank, because again, the only instance she's good is against Dreamwitch, and if you don't know what the hunter is in rank, then she's probably gonna struggle against most hunters. So I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I want to get a Barmaid badge. Don't, guys. Invest in other characters. Invest in playing stronger characters. But being able to still play Barmaid as a potential extra option is still good, because Barmaid, right? Barmaid is good against Dreamwitch. If you're ever playing a competitive team, if you ever try to play in a tournament and you know you're going against a Dreamwitch player, it's good to bring Barmaid because she can counter Dreamwitch. Of course, again, hunters can sometimes pick different characters, but if it's like a one-trick Dreamwitch player, you know, Barmaid, good option. She's able to heal within 20 seconds. It's usually, if you take a hit and you go for that healing drink, 20 seconds is usually long enough where a patroller can't get you and the follower to walk up and hit you in time. So that's what makes Barmaid good against Dreamwitch. Mobility while healing is very important against a Dreamwitch player. That's what makes Barmaid B+. She also has the speed drink, which can give her a slight speed boost. You know, I mean, it helps with kiting, but overall, it's still really it's not a great ability. There's way better kiting abilities, obviously, but still good against Dreamwitch. That's what keeps her in B+ tier. So she's not bad. The next character in B+ tier is actually Prospector. So this doesn't really happen in China. In Japan, Prospector has become very popular, even in tournaments, even in rank, because Prospector Now, I don't encourage you guys to one-trick Prospector. I know there's a lot of people who like only play Prospector and they love to one-trick Prospector. Make sure you guys are learning multiple characters. Prospector is good, certain maps, certain situations. He's very situational because he can't help survivors struggle free late game. He can potentially stun the hunter, stun them with another magnet right after. He's also not a bad kiter, but his magnets recharge incredibly slow. So if he gets found early game, his kiting isn't quite as good as some of the other kiters in the game. It's just not as good as what it used to be against these stronger meta hunters. It's still not bad, but it's not great. Of course, he does get a speed boost when he passes metal objects, such as a locker or a cipher machine, but the cooldown for that, I believe, is like 80 seconds. It's really long, so that's also not ideal. But yeah, it's good to have, again, just like Barmaid, it's good to have Prospector as a character that you could play. It's a good skill to have. Again, he's like not bad in rank, but he's not super exceptional, so make sure you can play more variety of characters. Don't be that one-trick Prospector. Again, make sure you learn other characters, even something like a Mercenary, something like a Grape Keeper, something like a Priestess. Giving more diversity to the team is very, very crucial. But yeah, Prospector, not bad. Good little supporter here and there. Can help the survivors make distance, help them struggle free late game, can waste some time late game. So Prospector, not bad, B+ tier. The next character in B+ tier is Magician. Jockey's going to be happier that I think I moved him up from last. I think I moved him up from last season. Yeah, Magician has 3 wands now, so it makes him a better kiter. Still not too good. Unfortunately, does struggle against chip hunters. But the 3rd illusion is nice. It definitely makes Magician more viable. It definitely makes him not a bad rank character. It definitely makes him stronger in tournaments as well. So Magician, love to see it, is now getting a little bit of added bonus. I think a lot of people have been talking about Magician needs 3 wands for a while. They really avoided that for so long. They tried everything they could to buff him without giving him an extra illusion. They took away the rescue slowdown speed. They gave him the invisibility when rescued from chair. And then it just still wasn't enough. And eventually they're like, okay, we got to give him a 3rd illusion. Even with the 3rd illusion, he's still decent. He's not like too strong, but he's still decent, right? So Magician, yeah, not a bad character. 3 illusions, very useful. Makes him a pretty decent character overall. When rescued from the chair, he turns invisible for a few seconds. Also useful for potential rebound kite. So Magician, overall, not too bad of a kiter. Doesn't really have much else to work with besides that. Not a great supporter. Obviously, support meta is very crucial right now. But he is not a bad kiter overall. B+ tier. The next character in B+ tier is, believe it or not, Weeping Clown. I was wrong. I will be honest with you guys. I was wrong about Weeping Clown. I think a lot of people were, but I will be directly honest. I was wrong about Weeping Clown. I said he was really bad. I had him really low last season. Weeping Clown is not that bad of a character. He's not that bad of a character. He's good. He's decent sometimes in rank. Sometimes. I still wouldn't really recommend in rank, but in tournament, he is viable later round as a surprise pick option, also for certain team comps. He's hard for the hunter to chase. His decoding debuff is not that bad. He's hard for the hunter to chase, and he can potentially his stuns are not very good. You never really use his stuns for much. Unfortunately, you can't use it to get kind of an instant rescue if you stun and then say right after against a good camping hunter. But overall, his rockets are very nice. You can use rockets to keep distance between you and the hunter. As long as it's not something like maybe like a Geisha, he's actually not bad against some of the chip hunters as long as you can. You have to be able to dodge the chips, of course, but if you're able to dodge them while in your rocket, you do have your little zoom ability while you're on it as well, which can help. You can also pick up survivors, help them create distance. So overall, he's not bad. It's a good kiter. His decoding is not too bad. He's not a bad rescuer in reality. Weeping Clown, he's got some stuff going for him. He's got some stuff going for him for sure. We'll see how he starts to pick up. Again, very popular in Japan, really not used at all in China. But we'll see how Japan's able to try to build him into the meta, and we'll see if it impacts over here in NAU at all. So Weeping Clown, best character in B+ tier, not bad. All right, moving on to the next tier, which is A tier. We're actually getting through this. We're making good time here. I'm actually surprised. I'm not overly, excessively ranting about every single character. So good job, Eli. Oh my god, improving. Anyways, the first character in A tier is Toy Merchant. Toy Merchant, not a bad character in that when you start out the game, you start out with an item. Of course, it's a little bit luck reliant as a Toy Merchant player. If you start out with a good item, so for example, an elbow pad is a great item to start out with. Perfume is not bad. Syringe kind of sucks, right? So that's kind of just how it goes with Merchant. Is you want to hope you start out with a good item. Again, elbow pad, very good item to start out with because you know, if you go for a rescue as a merchant, you can throw the elbow pad on chair, give it to the survivor. Maybe it doesn't have any items left. They can pick it up, elbow pad away, and help them rebound kite. Also, illusion, not too bad as well. And that's what makes Merchant double as a support and rescue character, because she can go for rescues and give that item while rescuing. On top of that, she can get all the way up to the chair uninjured. She can jump on her catapult, glide all the way up to the chair, and make it there without getting cut off by the hunter, which actually makes her a pretty good rescuer, believe it or not. And then, of course, she can also supply support. Very good on Moonlit, very good on Lakeside, very good on Chinatown and Eversleeping Town. So she's really good on those maps. With her catapults, you know, you can set up. She's also pretty good on Sacred. You can set up kind of like catapult areas where a survivor kites them, they jump on the catapult, and maybe it propels them into one of the strong 2-story areas, and it's very easy for them to kite after that. And she's also a good kiter against Breaking Wheel, because if you put your catapult down when the wheel comes up to you, juke the wheel for as long as possible. Once they get out, just jump on your catapult, fly away, force them to go back in the wheel for them to catch up, and just kite back to your catapult. Use it again once 30 seconds is up, and you can kind of just keep doing it over and over against a wheel, because they have to go back and forth between wheel form, and you're easily able, for the most part, a lot of the time, to kite out that catapult cooldown. So overall, Merchant, good supporter, good rescuer, not a bad kiter against certain hunters on certain maps, very situational, but not bad. And yeah, just solid, you know, A+ or A tier character. The next character in A tier is Perfumer. I think I did move her up from B+ tier. I think I had her as like B+, A- last season. But she's A. I mean, she's not too bad. She's good against Geisha now. Now that Geisha's become very popular, I don't know, with the introduction of Flywheel, I don't know how strong Geisha will be now. But still, with Geisha being around, Perfumer is a very good kiter against Geisha. She can be okay against Wheel on certain maps. She can be very good against Bloody Queen. So she's good against specific hunters. So she's really not bad. She can also double as a rescuer with those perfumes. You know, she can take it with the perfume. And, you know, get the rescue, heal yourself with the perfume, go back to your original state, whatever it may be. Perfumer, not bad. Not a bad rescuer, not a bad kiter. Situational to certain hunters and on certain maps, but 2-story map, she's very good because she can perfume, drop down a 2-story building, and the hunter has to wait for the perfume to wear off, or she'll perfume back up. Yeah, overall, Perfumer, solid A tier character, pretty good kiter against a lot of against some of the meta hunters, and, you know, not bad on certain maps. Next character in A tier is Embalmer. I'm actually very happy to see Embalmer move up here a little bit. The reason why Embalmer's moved up is for a few reasons. One of the main reasons, he's actually pretty good against Dreamwitch. Right now, Dreamwitch is dominating the meta, and that she's such a hard hunter to beat. A lot of teams have given up trying to win and just kind of trying to take ties against Dreamwitch because of how strong she is. And Embalmer is a very good character for that, because how Embalmer works against Dreamwitch is that, okay, so, you know, you set up your coffin, you kite away from it, and the hunter downs you. And then the leech will follow you to where you come out of your coffin, but then that means when they hit you with the leech, of course you get your bubble to kite with, but if you're not able to kite, then the leech will hit you. Your leech gets removed, so then the Dreamwitch has to waste their leech on leeching you again as the Embalmer, and then they miss the opportunity to leech a different survivor and apply map pressure. And then their leech is on cooldown, and it's a while before they can leech again. So Embalmer is really nice in that aspect, in that he can force extra leeches from Dreamwitch. If he's able to self-rescue himself with a coffin, it prevents the Dreamwitch from getting extra injuries on the board, which is also very important. So any less leeches in play, any less injuries in play are very important for tying or even potentially beating Dreamwitch. And that's what makes Embalmer A tier, because he's a good tie character against Dreamwitch. Also good tie character against things, good camping hunters with less map mobility, such as Sculptor and Bonbon. The next character in A tier is Coordinator. Now, Coordinator Coordinator has she's one of the more versatile characters in that she has fast vaulting speed, increased chair time, not too bad decoding speed. As long as nobody's on chair, decoding speed is pretty good. And she also has very good rescue potential and also very good support potential with the flare gun. So Coordinator, as long as the hunter doesn't have excitement, it's almost for surely guaranteed rescue, unless, you know, the flare gun gets blocked by like a sculptor statue or the hunter's able to hide behind a wall. So as long as the Coordinator's patient, usually able to hit their flare gun. It's a good rescue against something like a Bonbon with very good camping abilities, because, again, if they don't have excitement, it for them almost for surely guarantees the rescue unless the Bonbon can dodge it, which is very rare. So yeah, Coordinator is a very good rescuer, good kiter with the flare gun, increased vaulting speed, and has long chair persistence, and not bad decoding as well. So very versatile, very strong overall, solid A tier character. The next character in A tier, believe it or not, I'm a little surprised I even put it there myself, but I know it is well deserved in this position. That is Novelist. Novelist, he still hasn't really been used in a lot of big tournaments because he's still very like glitchy and like kind of like inconsistent with certain things. I'm not really sure the exact thing behind it, but he's still a little bit I guess the coding on him is still not like perfected or something. But Novelist is good because how Novelist can play now is that he, again, like previous tiers didn't have as high, but he's sort of adapted as the meta adapts. He's adapted, becoming a good character because basically, you know, for example, if the Novelist is able to get the book on the hunter and the hunter's chasing a survivor, Novelist can take control, move the hunter away, and give huge distance to the survivor. Now, Novelist as a kiter himself isn't too strong. Because Novelist can, the hunter can take control of the Novelist and just walk them back up to the hunter, and they really don't gain any distance at all. And gaining distance is very big, but he does help his teammates gain distance if they are kiting and Novelist has a book near the hunter. So Novelist is good at supporting teammates and helping them kite longer. Not so much himself kiting, but helping his teammates kite longer. And again, now that the meta has become very support-sided and supporting your teammates' kites with good supporting characters, Novelist has become an A-tier character. His other ability, switching with another player, is not very good. It can be good, like, maybe you're like a really good kiter and maybe your teammate's not as good, so like in rank, that can be very helpful. But unfortunately in tournament, a lot of these players in tournaments, they're all, you know, relatively around this game, should be relatively around the same skill level. They should all be obviously very strong at a top tier competitive level. So Novelist's switch ability is not quite as strong there. The next character in A tier is the newest one, Professor. Professor is a solid character. He can drop those scales around the map. He may actually end up being even higher or lower. We're not entirely sure yet, but I think he can kind of only go up from here, so maybe potentially higher. He can drop those scales around the map. Obviously, the biggest thing about Professor is timing the instant swing. Of course, your scales can get baited. You have to be careful of that, but overall, yeah, if a hunter goes for a swing and you instant scale like a perfume, it's sort of like a perfumer, instant perfuming, instant scaling. It's even easier because you just gotta press it once. Yeah, you can block a hit that way. You know, stun the hunter for a few seconds as well, knock them back. Not bad. You can also do it twice as a Professor. You can do it twice right out the gate. You can also give it to your teammates to help them do it as well. So yeah, Professor, that makes Professor, you know, not too bad. He can be a good rescuer. He can be a good kiter. He kind of has a lot of nice little things to work with. He can support his teammates. Again, support meta being very important. He can support his teammates by putting scales around the map. He can kite pretty well as long as he's able to avoid, like, you know, breaking wheel traps, stuff like that. That will immobilize him. But overall, as long as you're able to try to force basic hits, you can also absorb a chip hit with one of the scales as well. So that's pretty useful. So yeah, very versatile, good support character if you can leave your scales around the map. Professor does take a degree of skill, but once mastered, he could be very strong in the upcoming meta. He's a good rank character and could be good in tournament as well. The next character and the final character in A tier is Enchantress. Enchantress has become good. Enchantress has adapted. As the meta's changed, Enchantress has shifted into becoming a strong character. Geisha, very popular. Enchantress counters Geisha very well. They go for the dash, stun, get behind a pallet, whatever. They go for a dash, stun again. Enchantress is very good against Geisha. The single stuns against Geisha are just so incredibly powerful. She's also good against the two chip hunters, Sculptor and Bonbon. Every time you take a chip as Enchantress, you gain an extra stun, so she can be good against those as well. She's not good against Dream. She's terrible against Dream Witch. But after Dream Witch is gone, after Dream Witch is banned, she's not bad. She's also good against Breaking Wheel, believe it or not, because against Breaking Wheel, you can use your stun to cancel the full presence ability, which is pretty useful as well. So yeah, not a bad character against Wheel as well. So good against pretty much most of the Mad Hunters besides Bloody Queen and Dream Witch. Those are the two that counter her. But besides that, she's good against the other ones, and that's what keeps her in high A tier. She can be a good supporter late game, you know, trying to body block and stuns. When you're playing Enchantress, don't body block and harass early game. But late game, when your teammates are trying to prime ciphers and Enchantress is harassing and supporting, then that's where she can shine. That's where she can be good. She can also rescue because every time she takes a hit, she gains a stun. So pretty good kiter, can rescue, can support late game. There are better supporters, but she's still not bad at all. That's what makes her the best character in A tier. Okay, moving on to the next tier, which is A+ tier. The first character in A+ tier is Batter. Batter is a very good support character. He's very good at just kind of, he's the kind of character, a lot of times we talk about how you don't really want to trail the hunter too much. You want to focus on decoding. But Batter's a character that can actually be strong in that instance. He can, push the hunter back, allow the survivor who's kiting to make some distance. He's very good against breaking wheel, because as the breaking wheel gets out of wheel form, he can push the breaking wheel back, as they're getting out of wheel form animation. He can cancel full presence. So Batter is really good. He's a great replacement to Forward when Forward's banned, and he's very strong against breaking wheel. So Batter, just a very good character to have. Especially against Wheel. He can be good against Sculptor and Bon, things like that. Not so good against Dream Witch, but good against a lot of hunters that struggle at making distance. He's also a very strong kiter against Geisha as well, because he can hold the skill check with his ball up. He can hit the Geisha back as they dash, because Geisha dashes in a straight line. Batter is just a very good support character, a good harasser. It can be a very good rescuer. He can stun on chair with his ball to get the save without getting injured. While they're in the chair animation, the hunters in the chair animation, they can hit them back. Batter is just a very good support character. He only decodes 20% slower than instead of like Forward, which is 30. So he is a nice replacement to Forward when Forward's banned. Kind of the next best thing to Forward, and that's what makes him A+ tier. The next character in A+ tier is Mechanic. Now Mechanic is not S tier, obviously, as much as she used to be, not even close, but she's still a very good tie character. When you're in a situation in rank where you want to tie, maybe to get your promo, or in tournament where you want to try to go for a tie, Mechanic is a very good tie hunter. It's very hard for hunters to win against a good team with a good Mechanic. The Cypher Rush is just very, very fast. The only way you can really win is if you kill the bot quickly and then kill the Mechanic after that. You have to be very lucky as a hunter and spawn near the Mechanic to get that down. Mechanic, of course, has slower vaulting speed, so her kiting is just not that strong. But if she has bot in play, the bot does an entire Cypher machine for free, so it makes it so your survivor team really only needs to do 4 Cyphers to win the game, which is just very, very strong. That's what makes Mechanic an A+ tier character. The next character in A+ tier is Gravekeeper. And Gravekeeper is, as we talked about, compared to First Officer, Gravekeeper is a nice rescuer in comparison to Officer, because he has, if he gets cut off from a distance, he can shovel, and he can use the shovel to take the hit. It can absorb a hit, force the hunter an attack recovery, and then he can go ahead and make the rescue while they're in attack recovery if they cut them off. If the hunter waits for them to get out a shovel, then that's fine, because the Gravekeeper gets all the way up to the chair for free, which is just very, very strong, because there's no chance of getting cut off from a distance. So Gravekeeper is just a very good rescuer in general. He also, when he comes out of shovel, he has 50% increased rescue speed, which can be very good against good camping hunters. He's also not a bad kiter against non-ship hunters. He can force basic hits to get out of the shovel form. Puts the hunter in attack recovery, allows Gravekeeper to make distance. So he's also a very hard target to chase as well, and that's what makes Gravekeeper an A+ tier character. The next character in A+ tier is Psychologist, and Psychologist is really simple. She takes 3 hits, and she can also, heal survivors, injure herself, but heal survivors from across the map, which is also very good. But she can take 3 hits, and that's really, really good, especially in something like Dream Witch, and Dream Witch being the best hunter in the game right now. Having a character that's strong against her is just very, very valuable. Dream Witch loves to go for double patroller to try to get it down, or go for a sandwich with the leeches and then go for patroller to kill a survivor. But against Psychologist, it's really hard to do that, because you can take 3 hits. You gotta hit her 3 times, making the first chase against Psychologist very difficult for a Dream Witch. Additionally, if someone gets injured with, like, for example, patroller, Psychologist can sometimes get the heal off on that survivor. It's a 7-second heal. They can heal them with the whistle before the Dream Witch can patrol them again or get another hit on them, and then it makes their kite so much longer, and that can literally change games. That one heal from a Psychologist can literally win games. So that's really strong against Dream Witch. She's also just good against every non-chip hunters again. Sculptor is fine as well if you can force basic hits. She can struggle against Bon a little bit because of the bomb chips, but besides that, she can force a lot of basic hits from all these other hunters. Not very good against Breaking Wheel, because she can get down instantly, but besides that, she's strong against any hunter that forces single hits. Just a 3-hit character. Any character that can break the game. By breaking the game, I mean take more hits than they're supposed to, which is 2. In this case, 3. That makes them a good character, and that's what makes Psychologist A+ tier. Additionally, if she dies before her stress bubble runs out, or stress line runs out, then she heals herself off the rocket chair and forces even an extra hit, which is very, very valuable. So as long as there's no Tide Turner rescue, Psychologist can be very, very strong in his A+ tier. The next character in A+ tier is Patient. Really not that much to say against Patient. He's just a very good transition character. Any character with good transition kiting is very strong. He can transition away from Sculpture Statues, from Bon, from Bloody Queen Mirrors. Those are 3 of the best hunters in the game, and he's very good against all of them. Not a bad kiter against Dream Witch, because he can, hook away from being trapped between leeches. He's not so good against Geisha, because Geisha can dash to catch up very quickly. But besides that, he's just very good transition kiter. He can also hook up to chair and get rescuer, making him a very good rescue character. There's some very good, like, strong hooking areas that you can, like, hook onto. For example, the stairway in Leo's memory, up to 2 stories in Ever Sleeping Town, in the birdcage on Sacred. He's just very good on certain maps as well. And he's just, again, an excellent transition kiter. Can double as a rescuer as well, which makes him very versatile and valuable. And that's what makes him an A+ tier character. The next character in A+ tier is Entomologist. Now, Entomologist is game changer. She's a game changing character in that she can use her bees just at any point, as long as the survivor kites towards the bees at any point, to make distance between that kiter and the hunter, and that's very, very crucial, for a survivor team. Entomologist is just very good with that. For example, survivors kiting towards hospital, you can use the bees to push the hunter away, they can make it to hospital for free, and they can kite for free from there. Or she can use bees against a good camping hunter, like, for example, a sculptor. If someone's going for a rescue, use the bees to push the sculptor back. The survivor can get a free rescue uninjured. The sculptor doesn't even gain any presence from that, and that's great. And it's really good for Entomologist. It's really good for the survivor side. Entomologist is also a great kiter as well. She's faster on the bees. It makes her easier to dodge statues, bonbon bombs. It makes it easier to juke Bloody Queen mirrors. It makes it easier to juke the wheel form of a breaking wheel. She's just very strong character, very versatile, good supporter, good kiter, can also rescue sometimes. So Entomologist is just very good. She also adds increased vaulting speed to the windows when vaulting them for the rest of the survivors for the rest of the game, and that's what makes her just very good. And that's what makes her an A+ tier survivor. The next survivor in A+ tier is Postman. Postman is really underrated in NAU, unfortunately. In China, he is one of the best characters in the game. We've actually seen some hunters in China ban Postman first. And the reason why Postman is so strong, he might actually be S tier and I have him low, I don't really know. But Postman is really strong, and the reason why Postman is so good is because right now he actually acts as the best decoder in the game, because that decoding letter is so good. Every time you get that decoding letter, you give yourself, when you send the letter to somebody else, that person receives the letter, decodes 20% faster for a certain period of time, and the Postman also decodes 20% faster. That is a 40% increase decoding for a limited period of time. That is broken. That is so good. On top of that, and if that ability by itself was a thing, that would also be very good. On top of that, he has other letters that he can work with that can also help. Bravery letter helps the survivor get increased rescue speed against good camping hunters. This is very, very important. The dungeon letter is broken. The gates open ridiculously fast when someone has a dungeon letter, and they'll know at all times where the dungeon is, so they can kite to it. And on top of all that, he literally has some other letters, some other fun letters like speed boost letter, vaulting speed letter. The vaulting letters aren't as crucial, but the speed boost letter, 10% increased speed boost, either the Postman can give to himself when kiting or somebody else. That can also be very useful against hunters. So that's just really, really strong. And then on top of all of that, he also has the dog to slow down the hunter and allow him to create even more distance when kiting. Such a strong character, Postman. Probably should be closer to top of A+ or S tier, but for now, just because he's not used as strongly in other regions as China. He's still used in Japan, just not quite as often, but he's still used a lot in competitive gameplay. Postman, very good rank character, very good tournament character, A+ tier. The next character in A+ tier is Little Girl. Little Girl is really good because she's really good against Dream Witch. So if Dream Witch goes for a hit on Little Girl and they try to patrol her or something, she can just combine with someone, the patroller gets removed. It's just so broken. If Dream Witch walks up to Little Girl, she can teleport across the map because the Dream Witch doesn't give heartbeat until they switch to the follower, and Little Girl knows that the Dream Witch is there because of the mark, the curse mark or whatever it shows for the survivors when the main body's nearby, and she can just teleport away. So any character, again, that's good against Dream Witch is very good, and not only is she good against Dream Witch, she's versatile against other characters. Breaking Wheel, if they get a spike on her, she can combine with somebody. If Breaking Wheel doesn't have its snap ability online yet, then they can't knock her out. They have to hit the survivor for example, if it's a Mercenary can kite so easily against a wheel. It makes it very hard to kill Little Girl that way. Little Girl's also not a bad kiter herself. The pages create a lot of distance for her, pushes the hunter back, makes it very, very strong for her. She's just a very good character. We're seeing her banned a lot in tournament gameplay, especially for Dream Witch players, because she's very good against Dream Witch. But then also, not like Barmaid, because Barmaid's only good against Dream Witch. This character, Little Girl's good against multiple characters again. Breaking Wheel can be good against any any hunter with normal chasing abilities like a Sculptor or Bonbon, because you can combine with Mercenary, they can elbow pad away for free. Gravekeeper, she's really good with, because if Gravekeeper shovels, if you get hit as a survivor while the little girl's attached to you, the little girl gets knocked out. However, Gravekeeper, if he gets hit with shovel, the little girl does not get knocked down. She stays attached to him, which is very strong. So little girl is just very good kiter. Not a great supporter. So like for example, using pages combining with someone using pages, that's only good like late game when you're trying to prime the last cipher and helping someone out. It's not really good to use it early game, so don't use it early game, guys. I promise you, it's not good. But she's a very good kiter herself. She's very good at combining with survivors when getting chased first, and very good at escaping Dream Witch. When they switch off their leeches, she can just teleport away. That's what makes her A+ tier. The next character in A+ tier is Acrobat. Acrobat, even after the nerf, is still very, very good. On Moonlit River Park, he's broken on the 4-stops. He can ball off the platforms. He's just very good at kiting any narrow areas. He can put a slow bomb to create distance, a fire bomb to cancel abilities. He can also make a lot of distance with the charge bomb jump, which is just very good. When going for rescues, he can firebomb somebody on chair. Firebomb the hunter so they can't use abilities like a bonbon can't camp. After he gets a rescue, he can slow bomb the hunter to allow the person who is rescued to make distance. He's just a great rescuer because he doesn't even need broken windows, because a lot of the time you're using your bomb at the windows. He works really well with flywheel because again, you don't need broken. So you can use flywheel with Acrobat. You can use tide turner with Acrobat, making him very versatile. He's a very good kiter. He can support in certain areas. He is just very strong. Definitely the best character in A+ tier. Even after the nerf, still a very formidable character and an excellent kiter. All right, moving on to the last tier, which is S tier. The first character, we only have 4 survivors in S tier this time around, but the first character in S tier is Mercenary. Mercenary, just a great rescuer, as always, the best rescuer in the game. Of course, with the exception of Ford working as a harasser as well. Mercenary is just a very consistent rescuer. Even if he gets terror shocked, he can still make the rescue. He has elbow pads, which makes him very hard to chase in the early game. Increased chair time, which makes him hard to chase in the early game, and just a delayed effect when he takes that hit. So, again, even if he gets double hit, he can still make the rescue, which makes him just very, very strong. So Mercenary is just a very, very versatile, not really versatile, but very consistent rescuer. It's very difficult to stuff a Mercenary, which makes him very, very valuable in team comps. He's very good against single-hit hunters because he can make multiple rescues against single-hit hunters, and still having 3 elbow pads is just very strong, and his delayed effect is very broken because even if you want to chase a Mercenary, you got to wait an extra 15 seconds before he goes down, even if he was hit at half health. So because of these things, very consistent rescuer, Mercenary, very good against single-hit hunters as well. Mercenary is S tier. Very unchaseable as well. The next character in S tier is Seer. Seer is very good because Seer is like, it's very simple, but Seer owls are just so strong. If you give an owl to the first kiter, you can make any of the first kiters take an extra hit before going down. Seer can see the hunter at the start of the game, which direction they're going, communicate that to the teammates, and allow them to rotate accordingly. He's a good kiter himself because he looks behind her when he kites. He can farm an owl very easily. It's just very good. You can give owls to survivors that have to go for rescue. It's a good camping hunter, for example, if it's a bonfire sculptor, good camping hunters. You can give owl to help them get the rescue. Some chip hunters will still ban Seer anyways because they want to have good camping, and if there's a Seer owl in play, it's very, very hard to do that. Also against sculptor, you can run in the open, force a basic hit on your owl. That's very strong as well. Just a lot of good things you can go with Seer. And Dream Witches will always ban Seer round 1 because he's just such a strong character. Again, owl, very strong. You can farm owls to gain more owls back. Very good against things like Bloody Queen and Geisha. All the single hit hunters, which there are a lot of them, struggle against him. And that's what makes Seer an S tier. Just very good support. Very basic form of support with the owl, but some of the strongest form of support in the entire game. Alright, so the next character in S tier is Priestess. And I think we all know how broken Priestess is. Just the ability to set up portals so any survivor can take those portals at any point to create distance between themselves and the hunter. Again, creating distance is important. The hunter has to go through them. They get stunned. It's broken. Oh my god. You can literally be chasing a Priestess, trap them in a bad kiting area, and they just portal some building and they're gone, just like that. On top of that, Priestess also has the long portal, which you can, if a survivor is injured, they can take it at any point. And if you don't have teleport, or if there's no cyber machine near where the world portal is, then that survivor is probably getting healed, because Priestess, on top of all that, gets to heal survivors faster. She also heals faster as well. With all that, she only has a 10% decreased vaulting speed, 10% decoding, slowdown speed, which again, really none of that is important. Priestess is just so incredibly strong overall. Again, just the ability for really she does need a nerf, probably. Just the ability to have recharging portals, a recharging ability with that strength is just really strong. So the ability to again, set up portals, anywhere on a map for survivors to kite on. Chinatown, Ever Sleeping Town, Sacred, of course, being the best. That's just very, very good for, that's very, very good for survivors. It's just, Priestess is probably the best support character in the game. That's why she's banned more often than, most characters. And then, of course, the Long Portal is just very, very broken as well. You can even, with the Long Portal, connect the last 2 Cypher machines, right? You can have, the Priestess can World Portal to the last Cypher machine. She can go to it, she can pop one of them, go to the other one, help the last survivor pop, they can pop it super quickly, and you push for the end game just like that. So Priestess also supports Cypher Rush in that matter. So she just has so much going for him. Fast healing, good support. She can also be a good rescuer. She can portal through the chair, stun the hunter, and get a free rescue. And she can also speed up Cypher Rush because of that long portal in the use in the right instance. That's what makes her an S tier character. And finally, the best character in the game still is Forward. A good Forward is so incredibly powerful. I ban Forward in rank as a hunter, and it's even if I don't know if there's gonna be a Forward player, I just ban it because Forward is just so good. A good Forward can win games. You win games. You can go from losses to wins with a good Forward. Forward support against Breaking Wheel is just so incredibly strong. Against Dream Witch, it can be strong because you can stun the follower if they're trying to use Patroller. They can stun on Chair if there's only one follower camping. He's just a very good harasser against pretty much everything. You can stun on Chair, for example, it's a good camping hunter. Sculptor, Bonbon, you can stun on Chair while they're in the Chair animation, get a free rescue that way, and then that can be very strong as well. So that's just, there's just so much going for Forward. You can harass when the last Cyber Machine's almost primed. A good Forward is so hard to deal with harassing. A lot of hunters will bring excitement for good Forwards. It's just Forward support, Forward harass, Forward rescue. It's just so incredibly strong. If a hunter's chasing a survivor and the hunter goes through a narrow area, the Forward can stun when the hunter's not paying attention, allowing them to get even more distance. It's just, Forward is incredibly strong, the best character in the game, one of the best supporting characters, one of the best rescuers, one of the best kiters. He's so hard to chase because he throws pallets and vaults windows so fast. He's just extremely, extremely versatile. The only thing he doesn't have for him, of course, is decoding. But besides that, he has every other trait that makes him a good survivor, and he has them in very, very strong margins as well. And that's what makes him S tier and the best character in the game, which is Forward. All right, that's going to wrap it up for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this was helpful. I'm sorry I'm uploading this a little bit later than I wanted to, but I did go on a camping trip, so it made things difficult. But anyways, hopefully this video was helpful. Let me know in the comment section below. Any thoughts, opinions, any questions, feel free to let me know as well. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great day, great night, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you all in the next one.